Okay, so like 3 months right now, that is the number one might have that absolute sum of one like superior and that absolute superior and absolute power. So to be activated of my plus this story needing for like my team that captured the days of new framework. So even while number one I'm going to like look up to inspire way of life still the moment still my memory like so the fact that like number one have basically get pilot in a class job in a contained void of void of kind of scale that we have to depend that made up in the field of things like control for like control and power then even over that later like find one to the top to the like standing to be like the especially not framework. The mind is very much right now is that it needs in that the parallel world number one might have had like an argument in the balance against like the shadow mode might have been one that happens in which like number one might have observed this like common sense of the over like which and shadow mode by offer and like the human brain one might have been of like a community and working it might have been a great struggle for like but now yet like I'm looking at that but now might have struggle to stay so that's still more fun and participating the shower water. But he might not only actually go back and that he might not actually want to that then she has been they will have recognition of towards like spiral like the protecting that he might have seriously interested in that and they try like the shower water gas fire project shower water so he might not actually want to like the service that to be and control the shadow of the rhymes and that not take it out might have been investigated but you know so like back when that like the when 11 had sent Vecna to like the panel board like at that point also the correct like while Vecna might have been explored like the password Vecna might have been the running to catch the then quite like down that because that I think it's that might have like and which like Vecna might have or and the down on the translation a certain superiority and might have taken control of that which are almost and since then like the chance out of most of might have been lowering the whole of like Vecna might have been like the case demons Vecna but now at that point might have felt too powerful that like Vecna might have at that point after like defeating like the shadow of Vecna might have felt too powerful that the Blowage now had lost to that element still due to that offering that design for shadow of Vecna at that point might have felt that it will Vecna like spend that thrown to an even higher level that's like far superior to 11 that's one might go on the next level now might have like so that it might be able to that pattern that maybe that now might also then I know decided to that not even bother to export themselves to that store to that near your hands and fight to that trade down together but that it might have that might affect so might have been feeling so extremely so full of themselves and that so might have had that superiority within him to such extreme state that he might have that might have felt that he that to just send his like millions to bring down 11 and destroy lecture one might be along the line that he might have that there's like no need for that someone has that someone who's like very strong like himself that when you even for the so excellent stuff to that for a word to that bring down and destroy that the word might be along the line that but myself in feeling at that point might be today. So that's because of that reason might be the reason for so that time that have something that the demo organ it might have been that might have been setting that demo organ as well as that design shadow mode as well as like the bank and the everything to that to turn like the real world into like the past might have been like the case that even so like even so that the person that can different that not might be like the very top of like the hierarchy of power in that work even at all like the gender that might be like the roles that you know so right obviously not like even actually are looking right now for that and as we can see it that's a fully make it back to that real person coming to that with now then but and the claim with bring language of regular for that then into that role that negative and basically at that point writers like but now it is about the right out and to that that will after the man and different that is like 11 that was in the beginning back 11 like in this and different the moment like 11 getting would work any time all that the noise itself like 11 staying in the that getting back elements like power, like set up. So that 11, like the moment 11 would begin back when it plays as well as power back, and then that's like the scenario that is living in the sequence and numbers and like 11 straight away searching for through the hydrogen without where I'm searching for number one is like the scenario that I'm going to go to consider. And way like me and has like that now will be about the day now and feel like that's way last second and that 11 showing up to that Vecna black mind for like scenario set up. So like at that way them from different land Vecna to be that confronting black Nancy in that Nancy to like a situation where like to be back to her phone uh and Vecna will be a white bear in front of Nancy like this now that are to go. So like I said, the last second number different land in that the mind was okay, it's not very good. That will also get like the mind world like showing up to that the mind world like it's not that up to motive. So that at that point I'm noticing that straight away that 11 with like an inter man of like I'm that 11 with that serious spelling for example number one to like page three leave that the real world allows like was now in that and 11 I'm so different that straight away from backing up my board like 11 straight away it's not only using 11 like thinking for anything but not main board like straight away opening up like the my board or like now and straight away switching Nancy out of like main board straight away with like that way 11 straight away save Nancy and yeah, that one such that when that to down with the password and then skill actually taking advantage of that opportunity to learn straight away to make it to work like escape like the battle zone and make it to work like for the goals get the same data. So then at that point after continuing right now to my world and so preparing that array that you get in like 11 and but now like with now that I did over so but we are saying that another one person like might have or like the cause of like this view that might have won the whole of common than the last time the event has been number might be like the so that we have to bring that as well as couple with like the bank of like 11 or might be just now begin back to 11 power. It's like those now that I'm just like let's spouse would have increased and that's but like probably go to that this gap between that the spouse and that again back to your spouse actual expectation that again spouse about that to be the case like scenario that it was all about the factor connectivity living in that level not getting the hand new increase spouse like this now it's because of it. So that way up to the point to all factor like in that very balance between Vietnam and 11 the number one at 11 that is just important that when handling that unbelievable that when not only on for defeating 11 like it's not that or so like that being such an approach of for like 11 11 getting defeated by Vietnam and that at that point like 11 like the moment 11 would be get defeated by Vietnam like and like 11 would be sent out of that my word as well. It's like now my Vietnam that's now that and so like when at that point deciding to that hey it's time to like get Vietnam like a number of letter events for like for like fast sample classification of like among feelings like is not that in the world perspective. Certainly the moment like the back to like the able to like the that like Nevada like at that point like 11 more likely seen like but some of that they shown 11 like the question of like the clock at that point. So and that way someone consent of different for like deciding to like take his time and that basically to kill 11 like 24 hours until right now would and this was to keep showing 11 all of that pregnancy that given with like the clock and everything and and that they give 24 hours to that 11 to call it after which that like now would be planning on like coming for like to take 11 out of like this now that I'm looking over the also, I believe in right now for even to be able to like say Nancy from that right now mind work this fine. Like just now that I'm going to work like I'm going to that actually that ready and how now sometimes manage it to give that manage that work method that to Steve in like the paradigms like scenario that I'm and like Steve putting on that movement for Gen Z, but like and like the people would be playing and like at that point of course bring that in that Vecna's that mind world like and that mean that obviously like the parent world even at that point like Steven and previously perhaps on that parent world different is not very so like some of the parent world like and to being able to feel from out of like the main world like that and the end of being able to like see from like mind is like now set up the and like Nancy approaching at that point the really trying to like run towards that opening out of like the main world but at that point so from that straight away right now control like the wines and like the started towards within that Vecna like mind world and that and like the wines to like capture and stop Nancy from making it from getting from Vecna mind world is like the scenario that I think that we have to pretty much bring the problem injury for to be 11 like handles that so in bring with the resulting in like Nancy being able to like it from that Vecna mind world. Yes, so like yes, could you remember that for like the instrument from like something might be to that we consider and reprogram the monster trying to designate take order from that direction to that way to use like the monster as like weapon. In that situations might be like the actual instrumentation of like these monsters and that direction the even frame. Yes, like the even frame right now. For like in the it's a recommendation like a series of things might be having that self-destructive might be like the games between different to like maybe spending for like for fun without basically finding out about that and I'm different like then activating that as a different work and that way the confronting that out like in this time and like I'm listening to but with the different man I want to different like the entire of that instrument along with like the monster and like the inverse of getting taken off. So that's both of them are not like the scenario that I'm going to look today, right? And I'm going to find that conversation when they getting destroyed storing like that or just the question kind of scenario. It's like about my potential is like the scenario that I'm thinking. Yet like I'm programming for like the experiment the subject of like the stuff like the dark stuff like thing might be like the exact similar kind of like just like most of which have impact in like the power has that take control of the might be released the new thing. So like that dark stuff like most of I'm totally something football like this is something I'm totally putting for like the major of like the thing is like the major and probably until managing to like barely managing like a shape on like the main like it's not is and not depends on the like the person and probably like the stuff like that stuff like on the founding program from the managing to like a shape even from like self performance like it's not is that I'm developing and that stuff like control taking control is like the major it's like personality that I'm developing by the time and it would be escaping from Russia and making it back to America like a different back the ways of their black and so when you see those things getting controlled by that down just like from the correction days like the tsunami that you're bringing up today by something by the time season by even like I'm going to find lab tools that they have for a great friend who has such room for and make will confident about that thing. But actually, like Michael Jackson, another that way you're getting stimulus point and that will be related for that being by by the time season 5 to the spring the black thing the tsunami that and I'm so different about that new front of will being part of Black again, Black Nate and also in the battle against Black Vietnam in Black Putin by Black in that I'm going to yes, and after the then right now that dynamic, we have to take down one more target so like this fuse of that naturally that and to become a reality might be that actually the human trend in terms of man dynamic scene 4 states and you live it now. So far having taken down 4 targets, 3 targets already like in finance. What might be like the final piece doing which would might trigger that the future that weaknesses and we might be like that to the case supplements and so that preventing Vecna from taking down one more target might be of that extreme crucial relevance to prevent that from happening might be of that extreme crucial relevance might be that the activity of the day we must correct. We'll come to this point on to different that So like when we are referring this to the like the kind of in that like of energy and all of that comes down to the product like the scenario that I'm publishing. So that that's according to my preemptive number of different like Nancy and the other point for the thing that will that may not for them to like prevent like but not being like take down on target like there definitely need some of it that they definitely need like for like the help of like pressure of that token can be my memory so like definitely straight away for the straight away falling and bringing like pressure of that pocket to edit and so that pressure in that achieve or on the ground hearing from like the real world and like reading or say like the parallel world. There's like the scenario, two scenarios that I'm for it. So like that way instantly when like pressure being completely blown away by that shocking realization and which are straight away being convinced by us to that like system of like the parallel world and about like everything and at the end of the would be trying to bring awareness to like the stuff and that kind of like the now that I'm doing from that way like I'm doing the like the self control the thing that them issuing the self issuing that the entirety of like the place of them talking at like a high a lot kind of like a situation where and that I'm probably bring like the shut up announcing to like the entirety of like the town talking to that take specific precautions and that that giving such pause to that particular sector organ to prevent like a form victim happening at like the round of it and like doing this now that after the and even at that point they get for like the basketball year to once again create others like scenario that I'm doing over so like at that point I'm looking for them to that bring like the passport and exactly so like the passport was maybe that the game has actually scored. So that going to mention that about the bring for that Nancy Anderson was as from like the person that they would be telling that the sort of to execute and the town for the camera to actually music to be placed 24/7 and like the town in the focus town for the like now that so I'd like maybe like some of the that I'd like to send some area I'd like the town for them to bring that speakers and playing music totally handling on this point on becoming curated as like important for like any individuals that when targets that like working from left around to create a boundary for the country like a shape like such any scenario for them. So like fundamental prevention for like the multiple component or some sort of thing like just for announcing the like and updating downloading that like whenever anyone has like any vision of like now that what that the moment like everything begins itself like they have to be uh they have to like straight away report to like the job station. And also this line down for different multiple the part of for like end up with the people feeling like some that sounds from me to actually now that I'm different on the end. So like according to my program like even with all the problems that I'm just having like low like stuff and national and like that I'm putting up like even the song person of and still towards like the end of like towards like the final episode of like season 4 26 I'm looking for like Vietnam and like the still managing to almost take out like support victim support target of it like so in the scenario but like fight big walk they don't for target and that very last second is when I'm entering that for like 11 that kind of keep on like scenario that they like to 11 like the how some thing the for target from like now being saved from like today finance and then but at that point is when you know when that the point where like that it can really bad between that level and that I think definitely what conservation programming in that they battle like and form that seven to that they live for control of the good and boring and defeating like like the scenario that and once like it was really defeating like and like three gate open gate at like open like closing at that point is like the scenario that I'm thinking but like I'm going to going in length is five or string six like that now is uh like that now would be five like taking and set of like for taking down and side of that for market that are good sell that knowledge and and if you successful with current yeah, that will an different and tokens that this give that the use case being open source tokens and that the most of harming all of them that integrating into that open along with like now and like the like now that I'm sort of different. Yet like a different that and on top of that as tokens uh, a lot of like tokens that getting taken on yet like a different eventually I'm different that relevant as well as like carries about like a different relevant to the kind of tail while trying to like and final and so different like focus making use of current like focus so like focus at that point focus at that point getting the access like question as like the chef and like focus really that the skill of like the person of like focus the making sure it's like or in the situation and like focus of like the data and everything then the player will find like so legal like for like long as like I can all of the second so then the skill lot like the get like a lot of still get it taken off by like a month and but yeah different like element from struggling to element of struggling to that stuff but and like to look at it and then at the end of the university like not still grinding up from and being but almost about the electric but at that level again when I'm going carries that kind of happening and one by the control carries like bag of sense and of like carries power like and that the two of like 11 and carries the graph combined that was like increase but then they're going to like increasing of you know keeping taking on wetness then change the scenario that of the kind of that we have the price from Vecna until the connect something like I'm the friend that the situation might be from right now the shadow model of calculus for the motor and some of them as well as that some of calculus. So the thing might be at someone might be in a reconfigured kind of situation where like they might be all connected to each other. So it might be present within that right now. I think it might be like to the you know so that the moment that man gets taken out like and that all the other models are getting taken out simultaneously like those scenario scenario that like the amount of section that's like the count of the like the amount and the wine Finland, the band got everything getting something getting taken out from like Finland and carry with that new thing was really into a better thing by for the would be that thing of like now it's like thing with an art that is so that the people doing right now is called like 19 to that without creating to that with that and one to like Nancy is more like I'm super happy to be like the one that like I'm like the plan and the different country telling like the group of black and that Dustin a team getting into like a team a TJ and like team to be like the group of black to be like the team of black Dustin Lucas and matching the team and they're only telling them to like basically that's not possible that to find to make on like the black pressure and they need to bring that pressure to like a discount and get the so like the start like the get to like the battle was at like a discount and they need to bring awareness to like the church about that about like the battle and the community the battle and like that they think and basically that way to like turn like the town of into like a I love kind of like an emergency situation to bring such situations to like town for consulting so and like whenever like even if it doesn't do just like the town the next time has like the week itself like for and like straight away contact like the server straight away report to like the sheriff and that way to like prepare like the next target of that webinar from like the point of that next target having uh, that targets like very tough within itself. Most definitely not 300 improve like the can do things and exactly how to like change and everything that by preparing that and target of that. While like the team phase of that in terms of different like the team leads and what to be in that the team like Nancy about it teams and then getting like them at the same time like something is that right now it's without a grade then that going back to like the pathway and the game to print like them planning on like going up to that reach home in that all the way to like June from like a passport and basically them to like just be right there and just be hide nearby to like in home and basically facing the way until like now makes it more like target person to like right on right now might be along the lines of the thing for like still for like Nancy making that plan is like scenarios that are different, but end up different like on their way to while they have to make slowly make their way that way towards that Vecna, the way home that in like once again like then would be like there will be that earthquake once again is like the scenario that and you can imagine that like the earthquake might be most likely Vecna if there are the set like controlling and giving orders to most likely what might be like the giant dragon or some which might be taking orders from like the maybe and still be following that machine being might be the game to the middle of that day like a different with like the and one of them being worried about like the but not that one of that like I'm different like they might be totally uh they might be totally forgetting about like the dance shadow like I'm different dance remaining forgetting about like the dance shadow or even while the different the name of like Nancy and Ellie and Steve and Robin would be already back into like the family to make it work like even out of that in that way like I'm like to stay one that Vecna would be making just move and on the next target and like the fan word and then went up like the fan like and speed and all something big about the like target Vecna to like take out Vecna and at that point is when I'm putting like the next substrate happening and like at that point like the shadow of the giant shadow of like nothing how like the town close to that the place home is like it's now that I'm doing and then at that point, like getting chased away from Jack the Supreme Human from Blackman by the Janta of like Islamic so at that point, I'm going to bring like dancing and also we suggesting to do like they wanting to like escape from like the chasing Jan Shaban of like the Islamic so that from my friend account of the digital scenario to an extent of vision for constraint for different for the scenario where like Vietnam on one side like would be about to take out like the four different and like both target and like point while that the dance element might be about that take out with the work like Nazi speed editing and performance while at the same time like I'm like even making cannons fighting for like Vietnam copying again and don't feel like fight in front of like but now so with that let's say like stay that like they went straight away at that point just not eliminating to pause to that take out when now might be along the line like the maybe assuming that like eleven has kind of like but now but like a bit like now to like still survive and I was about it like and so different eleven only realizing one like now we being limited to like turning that bio like being scenario that is like that relation to find that one like put in the sequence of like on like 11 will be at that point but right now in that speak like screen like 11 so big is not telling for again like right now and at that point I'm probably find that right now uh, would be getting after and at that point simultaneously the giant shadow of us like will be getting after and will be fighting on to like the ground like now so like that way like I'm looking like even simultaneously saving like the team of like Nazis and so as well as like the fourth victim for target of wetland and like often is like the leading danger right now for like so that I can take out all of it like and up and written from like theory and like look for that over and it's always like struggling to like the from like technology that now I don't know but like a different like theory most likely knowing and telling at that point like how much and there's another thing that like people that where they can get another plane like theory might be unable to another plane at like comes to the domain like when like case of things might be like to deal with the payment frame that way like through theory like like that to specific occasion would be like might be about like and different that you might be having that where like I'm different like taking you might be having that access to that plane and like then taking that plane and managing like really in time like it's not that but still perfect for that and still requiring still given that plane like a different should not be in that certain kind of conditions that is now that so like you might have to like so little bit of sitting on that plane so that way, like they might have to like for them to like have to like need a bit of like time storing for them to like make it out of that project then to now instead of and they have to put like into like being like the one to like do that time storing that would now and by then like like the report like they need to towards that location like scenario that is so like while and those we're trying to like find or like mentioned about to like taking out and so it's like there is a scenario that way I'm sort of trying that by the time that the plane will be fixed like you will be fixing like the plane and like there will be the management like the same that kind of thing that they and so not being with the it's like the without that like the loss and those I mean it's like business scenario that I'm different we are like about different for that those format as well as during just there managing to that make it out different time out of that again and of saying it back all the way to that again. It's like things down that I'm only trying to say. Okay, so that the main difference right now is that for that by the time you go to 11 which is making it towards like at the end of the like 25 and like 2 days and like by the Nancy and those would have made 11 for kids and would have entered to like transport by like the cleaning that would have attempted their attempt to like endowment and then at a specific moment for that attempt that totally back running through land unexpected in terms of like the shadow of the and shadow of the Vecna might have totally already might have assigned definitely I'm trying that it will do that Vecna uh about to that Vecna taking over like the mind that and you can game and just plan which that of Magnesian team right now to bring down Vietnam while Vietnam would be targeting that next target line. That means all the strands like before the Vietnam might be aware through like the now memory within Vietnam might be that against the Haven brand. So definitely Vietnam might have already signed like the job like the shadow amount of like the task to that totally take out like Nancy and others while the PhD is going up to that so that bring down like already at bottom itself that might be the case that you know so that they are going that way by the time that national to be making towards that with the frame opening like the paraboard towards where back now will be like and looking that while they will be when hearing like the out of that creating like the paraboard itself like and like another create happening and like the paraboard stuff like emerging from like the avalanche now like the scenarios that and then starting like by that I'm going to time is when I'm whispering with my name again towards like the case in like the real world and entering into like the parallel world. And, at that point, I'm so different that event to seeing that was a giant shadow of the that chasing after that it was something like now experiment. And even at that point, it is straight away will be about to like chase after like the shadow of the swing shot the shadow. But at that point, I'm not that I'm remembering like the words of like towards of Pranam and to like not underestimate uh, do not underestimate Vecna's Levan Brain. So definitely I'm going like Levan saying that on those words in front of seriously and Levan not underestimating Vecna Levan no make more things to basically save upfront by taking advantage of the current situation of like Vecna being in that sleep like state to like they help Vecna. So if one like relevant of that like the shadow motor as well might be connected to Vecna and will be also getting time getting taken off might be a long range Vecna might be coping and that will like like 11 instead of like saving up for like relevant friends in like the battle work to like save them from like the shadow motor like like straight away running into like the race from like the battle work and towards like Vecna. So like at that point 11 facing Vecna it was like sleep like straight and 11 straight away not waiting any time and straight away to 11 for Black 11 taking off when Black was now very so like at that point I got to bring Black and Maxine to actually taking that mind world Black Vietnam struggling to get away from Black Vietnam might be the case like the mind world it's like you know it's set about the thing so actually I'm bring Black 11 at that point taking out Vietnam from the battlefield and at that point I'm totally different for Black Vietnam still surviving and at that point I'm totally bringing 11 and Steven and then all of them like probably taking that level and then been taken out after like the seven months of that will at that point time they was like zero taking out with the 7 months of that plan is like scenario that so like 11 and 10 also to be thinking that it's all over but like I'm not delivering for and Maxine as well I'm probably trying at that point like returning back to like normal like scenario that I'm doing but like I'm doing what might have actually happened might have been that for the master in terms of different scenario to be land Vecna to be still surviving and those Vecna body would be getting taken out like Vecna's that mind of like 100% Vecna soul like and still manage like survive through matching within matching like now that I'm the profession. So but they are bring that way that Vietnam Vietnam so growing from within like within matching from that when on like the scenario that I'm the so like these rounds of different matching during that that's really from but like I'm the different like to that Vecna, that body getting taken over, and everything that Vecna to like squatters to that fully take off 19. That now that I'm going to so that from that they can take years for like Vecna to years to take off 19 that way. Like now that I'm going to so like so by the time it will be season 5 for example, like Vecna might be being up to that fully take off 19 like now that I'm doing it. But that just like I'm something like Vecna. And that way, like Maxine being able to like through Vecna control like through Vecna weapons and take off of like Maxine like implement that way Maxine using telekinesis powers and like through Vecna control of Maxine and basically Maxine that way entering into like the battlefield and like Maxine going on to with going in like the battlefield. Well, like the concept right now, or it might be still focusing in that technical stage, like scenario that I'm thinking. And at that point, I'm not different than from my team, like kind of spin of like we say, like right now, transferring, using that enough land files, like it's about like right now, like transferring, right now, person, or let's say from that my team towards like my responsible body at that point, it's like scenario that everything. That way, like I'm focusing to be how eventually that now should be making the return in like season 5 of like Stranger Things, like perspective scenario that I'm going to experience. At that point, that we're not complicated Maxine a personal depth in like we're not that in that compatible like if it feels from reflecting the scenario that I'm supposed to get that I'm so even at that point like now with the experience to generate like 11 but now at that point I'm keeping Maxine is not like the parable and it's live now then contacting it event through launcher remote communication like and between that but now that contacted 11 and we have that connection being as being strong with that the realization that with back and that Maxine like that being now that I'm and have also maybe like not maybe soon after that, in a quick certain check and doing by then like but now for what I was doing that first event that in quick certain at that point that but now taken off for target from talking and that way that season 5 like I'm between like a huge case on the opening uh at like from the ground at like target is that carrying and at that point, I don't think that the shadow of the one like the but now at that point that even reviving that was having so that we could have found that will so on for the killing the scenario that is thing.